Cassandra Ventura, also known as Cassie, filed a lawsuit in November alleging Combs raped her and forced her to engage in sex trafficking. Jones alleges sex trafficking and sexual assault, also mentioning underage girls in the 79-page lawsuit. Claims made by Jones include hidden cameras in the rap mogul's home.
They seized drugs and more than 1,000 bottles of baby oil and lubricant.
50 Cent has dropped a match into this powder keg, accusing none other than Sean Diddy Combs of creating a dark empire beneath his music mogul image. This isn't just an ordinary celebrity feud. This might be the moment when Hollywood's most guarded secrets are finally exposed. So buckle up, because this roller coaster ride is about to reveal the side of fame they don't show on Instagram.
Don't trust nobody. In Hollywood specifically, when you get there, a lot of people don't know how to say no. That's the difference between New York City and California.
50 Cent has always been the kind of figure who goes where others fear to tread. Since his early days, he's never shied away from confrontation. But this time, it feels different. This time, he's not just trying to throw shade or stir up controversy. No, this time, 50 is aiming to take down an entire network of secrets and lies. A network that he believes Diddy has been building for decades. We're talking about connections that run deep, alliances forged in silence, and a trail of money that leads to the most exclusive parties and darkest rumors in Hollywood.
As Sean Diddy Combs sits behind bars awaiting trial on federal sex trafficking and racketeering charges, we take a deep dive into the growing list of high-profile celebrities charged with sexual misconduct. We start with Harvey Weinstein. In April, the New York Court of Appeals overturned Weinstein's 2020 and sexual assault conviction and ordered a new trial. A retrial is set for November. Weinstein maintains his innocence and that all sexual encounters were consensual. Harvey Weinstein, once a Hollywood powerhouse, was accused by some 80 women, including Ashley Judd, of sexual assault and prosecuted in New York and California. He was acquitted of a 2010 sexual battery allegation, but a mistrial was declared for two other accusers. In 2020, he was convicted of rape and sexual assault, though New York's highest court later overturned his 23-year sentence.
This today is an act of institutional betrayal.
His defense attorney, Arthur Aidala.
So the Court of Appeals deserves a tremendous amount of credit for doing this, based on the law, not based on opinion polls.
Weinstein's legal troubles were far from over. In 2022, he was convicted of rape and assault in Los Angeles and recently indicted on new charges in New York, where he remains behind bars. Weinstein maintains all sexual encounters were consensual.
I believe I can fly.
R&B singer R. Kelly was sentenced in federal court in New York and Chicago for sexually abusing underage girls and recording it. In New York, the I Believe I Can Fly singer was sentenced to 30 years on sex trafficking and racketeering charges, followed by a 20-year sentence for child pornography and enticement charges in Chicago. The two men who once teamed up for the hit song Satisfy You now face similar accusations. Like Kelly, Diddy is being held on sex trafficking and racketeering charges. Diddy is being held in the same jail as Kelly once was, Brooklyn's troubled Metropolitan Detention Center. Unlike Kelly, Diddy is also charged with transporting individuals for prostitution.
Combs abused, threatened, and coerced victims to fulfill his sexual desires,
reportedly begging his victims for compliance. Prosecutors report Diddy held private freak-offs where victims were drugged, beaten, and forced to participate while he recorded and masturbated. Diddy's attorney.
He's going to fight this with all of his energy and all of his might and the full confidence of his lawyers. And I expect a long battle with a good result for Mr. Combs.
Diddy faces more than 130 lawsuits, mostly by Houston attorney Tony Busby.
Our youngest victim at the time of the occurrence was 9 years old. We have an individual who was 14 years old.
If you think back, 50 and Diddy's history isn't exactly the picture of best friends. These two have been locking horns since the early 2000s. And while their rivalry might have seemed like friendly competition at first, business moguls in the same industry, it quickly became clear that 50 was not playing around. His 2006 track, The Bomb, didn't just come out of nowhere. It was a direct hit aimed at Diddy, questioning his involvement in the death of Biggie Smalls. In a world where everyone was too afraid to say it out loud, 50 put it on blast, throwing a clear warning shot You're hiding something, and I'm coming for it. And now, 18 years later, it looks like his warnings might have been right all along.
Yeah, and I know 50, he did a recent interview with US Weekly saying that the reason why rappers are quiet about, Diddy's situation is because they've been to his parties and they don't know what got caught on tape.
Bruh, those people who was caught at Diddy party did not know that he had 250 tape recorders in that house. That's a big house. But he had 250 tape recorders in that house that they took, that the feds found. So now with them finding all that and you being at a Diddy party, you know you may have done something that was caught on one of those tapes. You just better pray to God that they don't recognize you. Those people who know that they did something, no, they're not gonna speak out. They're not gonna say nothing. What part of the game is that? They are not going to come forward and tell on themselves. Nah, not at all. Ice Cube, he said it himself, bro. He said that Diddy's been targeted because of what he said about those folks and those people. Now, the people who was on those tapes may feel like Diddy might be targeting them. Because if he's asked about who is this, who is that, and he's under oath with the federal government, he got to tell them.
Just days ago, news broke that Sean Diddy Combs was slapped with a slew of charges that are jaw-dropping, even for Hollywood's loose standards. These aren't just celebrity issues. We're talking about allegations so intense they read like the plot of a crime thriller. According to a federal indictment, Diddy faces charges for things like sex trafficking by force, racketeering, and even kidnapping. It's as if every rumor, every conspiracy theory, and every whispered story over the years has suddenly materialized into cold, hard, legal action. And the industry, it's left scrambling, wondering what secrets are going to fall out next. But let's backtrack, because the story goes back further than just a list of legal charges. Over the years, Diddy's name has been linked to some of the most mysterious incidents in Hollywood. His infamous freak-off parties have been whispered about for years, with insiders claiming they were wild, over-the-top, and downright dangerous. These weren't just gatherings of A-list celebrities letting loose. They were allegedly meticulously crafted events where Diddy had control over everything and everyone. The guests, VIPs, celebrities, influencers, each one carefully chosen and often bound by a silent agreement to keep things under wraps. And for anyone who dared to spill the details, there was one guarantee: they'd be swiftly shut down. According to those who've attended, these parties had a certain intensity about them, something almost chilling. There were stories of rooms that guests were encouraged not to enter, people arriving one way and leaving in another state altogether, and whispers of Diddy himself surveying the crowd as if he was orchestrating the entire experience. 50 Cent, who attended some of these events in his early days, reportedly saw more than he was ever comfortable sharing. For years, he dropped hints, made offhand comments, and threw subtle shade, but the deeper secrets he held back, that is, until now. Just recently in a cryptic interview, 50 Cent took things further than he ever had before. He hinted that Hollywood was sitting on a ticking time bomb, and that certain people were about to be exposed in ways they'd never anticipated. "Y'all have no idea what goes on in this business," he said with that infamous smirk. "It's not what you think. And trust me, some people in this town aren't gonna make it out of this one." The message was clear. This isn't just about Diddy. This is about exposing an entire network, a web of secrecy that Hollywood has woven to keep its worst side hidden. Then came the moment that broke the internet. News surfaced that federal agents had raided one of Diddy's properties and made a bizarre discovery: thousands of bottles of baby oil and lubricant. When the news hit, people were in shock. Baby oil? Thousands of bottles? It was a detail so strange, so surreal, that it almost sounded like a bad joke. But for 50 Cent, this was his moment to strike. He took to Instagram, posting a photo of himself with actress Drew Barrymore and captioning it with a savage line aimed straight at Diddy. "I don't have 1,000 bottles of lube at the house." It was classic 50, mocking, brutal, and just a little too on point to be ignored. But as much as 50 Cent might be enjoying the shade, there's a darker purpose behind it. For him, this is about unveiling a side of Hollywood that everyone knows exists, but refuses to confront. In an upcoming documentary, he promises to go even deeper, pulling together everything he's seen, heard, and experienced over his decades in the business. This isn't just a vendetta, it's his mission to shine a light on an industry that's thrived on secrecy and silence for far too long. And for Diddy, who's always operated with an air of untouchable authority, this could be the moment when everything he's built comes crashing down. It's not just 50 Cent who's speaking out. Ever since the charges against Diddy came to light, other voices have started to emerge, people who'd been too afraid to speak up in the past. Former employees, past collaborators, even industry insiders have begun hinting that there's more to the story, that these allegations are just the tip of the iceberg. And for Hollywood, which has always maintained a facade of glamour and invincibility, this might be the scandal that finally breaks through the armor. The question is, how many people will be willing to come forward? And how deep do the secrets really go? 50 Cent has made it clear. He's not backing down, and he's not gonna let this fade away. In a world where silence is golden, he's the voice calling for justice, for transparency, for accountability. And as for Diddy, the walls are closing in. His empire, built on fame, money, and possibly manipulation, is under fire like never before. The truth is coming for Hollywood's elite. And if 50 has anything to do with it, there's no place left to hide. So stay tuned, because the story of Diddy, 50 Cent, and the hidden Hollywood isn't over. It's just getting started.